You know that feeling, that really specific physical feeling right before you have to speak in a high-stakes situation.
Right.
Maybe it's a board meeting or, I don't know, a toast at a wedding. You have this split second where you imagine what a leader is supposed to sound like.
The archetype. We all have it.
Right, the archetype. And for me, it's always this deep, booming James Earl Jones kind of baritone, or it's someone who's just so witty and fast, they never say, I'm never pause, and then I open my mouth and say, wow, I do not sound like that.
And that gap right there between the radio voice in your head and your actual voice, that's exactly where the anxiety comes from.
Exactly.
We convince ourselves that unless we sound like a BBC News anchor, we just aren't worth listening to.
And that anxiety makes me want to fix everything at once, you know? Like, I need to lower my pitch, fix my accent, memorize a dictionary.
All at the same time.
Yes. Which is why I'm so excited about hacking today. We're doing the architecture of vocal confidence. And honestly, the big takeaway here feels like a massive permission slip to just stop. Stop trying to be a news anchor.
It really is. What makes this analysis so different is that it treats vocal confidence not as some talent you're born with, but as an architecture.
A structure you build.
A structure you build. And the foundation isn't about having a flawless voice. It's not about resonance or acoustics. It is, at its core, about sounding comfortable.
Okay, but be comfortable is like the worst advice ever when your heart is pounding and your palms are sweating.
It's useless advice on its own, I agree. It's like telling someone who's drowning to just relax.
So the mission to get really granular. This is down into actionable, physical, even mental adjustments. We're going to talk about the biology of pacing, the psychology of silence,
The physics of posture, and why your vocabulary might actually be sabotaging you. We're trying to move the goalposts from, say, trying to impress to trying to connect.
Okay, so let's start with the first hurdle the text identifies. I think everyone listening has tripped over this one. The speed trap.
The #1 killer of perceived authority.
So break this down. Because when I'm nervous, I don't decide to speak fast. It just happens. It feels like the car loses its brakes.
It's biological. It's a pure fight-or-flight response. Your amygdala perceives a threat, and your brain just screams, danger, escape.
And since you can't run out of the conference room...
Exactly. Social norms suggest you shouldn't. So your brain tries to just accelerate the interaction to get it over with. It pushes you to rush through your words.
So talking fast is basically my brain trying to evacuate the building.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah.
But the problem is how that gets decoded by whoever's listening.
Right.
When you hear someone rushing, tripping over words, do you think, wow, that person is efficient?
No, I think they're frantic. Or honestly, I think they don't believe they deserve the time they're taking up.
And that's the key insight. Rushing signals subservience. It signals that you believe their time is more valuable than your ideas.
Yeah.
It's a counterintuitive fix here.
Which is?
You have to do the exact opposite of what your survival instinct is screaming at you to do. You have to slow down.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate. In a modern corporate setting, everyone's busy, attention spans are shattered. If I speak slowly, don't I risk boring people?
That is a common fear. But there's a huge difference between being slow and being deliberate.
Okay.
We're not talking about sounding like a sloth from a cartoon. We're talking about controlling the clock. When you speak at a measured pace, you're signaling status. You're signaling, I am calm enough to take my time.
It's a power move.
It's a control move. And it leads directly to the most terrifying tool in the speaker's toolkit.
Silence.
The pause.
The power of the pause.
Exactly.
See, even that little silence felt like an eternity. We're conditioned to treat silence like a void that has to be filled.
We treat it like an error message. You know, if the audio stops, we think the connection's broken. But argues that for a listener, silence is actually, it's processing time.
Processing time.
Think about cognitive load. If I'm throwing data at you at 200 words per minute, your brain is just scrambling to keep up. When I pause, I'm letting the last point land.
Ah, I see.
Really interesting distinction. A pause doesn't signal that you've forgotten your lines. It signals that you are thinking.
And thinking looks confident.
Thinking looks like leadership. It shows you aren't afraid of that empty space.
There's a specific physical trick mentioned for this, right? The one breath trick. It seems almost too simple.
It is simple, but it's a physiological intervention. The advice is just, before you say your first word, take one single deep breath.
Just one.
It's just one. But let's look at the mechanics. When you're nervous, your breathing gets shallow, right? Up in the chest. That puts tension on your larynx, which makes your voice sound thin or shaky.
Right.
Taking that one deep diaphragmatic breath, it lowers your heart rate, it drops your shoulders, and most importantly, it pressurizes the vocal column.
So your voice has an engine behind it.
Exactly. You aren't squeezing the sound out, you're supporting it. It grounds you immediately.
It's like hitting a hardware reset before you load the software.
That's a great analogy.
Okay, so we've slowed down, we're breathing. Let's talk about the software, the words. I think I have this unconscious bias that smart people use big words.
The vocabulary myth.
If I want to be taken seriously, I need to, utilize multisyllabic terminology to demonstrate competency.
You just did it.
Yeah.
Utilize instead of use.
Guilty. But isn't there a risk if I use simple words, won't I sound simple? Like I don't get the nuance.
It really depends on your goal. The sort of complex, jargon-heavy language, it often comes from insecurity. It's armor.
You're hiding behind the thesaurus.
In a way.
Yeah.
You're thinking, I hope they think I'm smart. But think about the most effective communicators. They use simple, piercing language. Confident speakers choose simple words because their goal is clarity, not impression.
Clarity.
Yeah. But when you focus on how can I get this idea from my brain to yours with the least amount of friction, your voice naturally relaxes. It becomes authentic. And ironically, the listener perceives you as more intelligent because they actually understand you.
That is the irony, isn't it? The harder you try to sound smart, the less you connect.
Exactly. It shifts the internal question from how do I sound to do they understand?
But let's be real. Even if we master pacing and use simple words, we're human. We mess up. I'll trip over a sentence or use the wrong grammar. And for me, that's the moment the spiral starts, the sorry trap.
The apology spiral. Sorry, I can't speak today. Sorry, my English is terrible.
It feels like the polite thing to do. I messed up, I should apologize. Why is this flagged as such a major error?
Because of something called the spotlight effect. When you stumble, you feel it intensely. You think everyone noticed. But in reality, the audience probably missed it, or they didn't care. When you stop to apologize, you are grabbing a giant spotlight and shining it on your own mistake.
You're framing the interaction around your failure.
Yes. You're telling the audience, I am not a reliable narrator.
So what's the alternative? If I completely botch a sentence, I can't just pretend it didn't happen.
You can, actually. Or you can correct it without all the emotional baggage. Confident speakers just own the glitch. They might stop, take a breath, restate the sentence clearly, and move on. No drama.
So instead of, oh my God, so sorry, I'm all over the place, it's just, let me rephrase that.
Let me rephrase that. Or simply, actually, the data shows X. It's about resilience. One mistake doesn't collapse the whole structure unless you pull the keystone out by apologizing for it.
That is a massive relief. It takes the pressure off perfection and puts it on recovery.
Recovery is a skill. Perfection is a fantasy.
Okay, moving from the mental to the physical. This gets into the physics of sound. And it turns out our mothers were right about posture.
They were, but not for the reasons they thought. It's not about etiquette. It's about mechanics. Think of your vocal system like a wind instrument.
Okay.
If you bend the tube, the sound comes out weak or distorted.
You're kinking the hose.
You are physically compressing your diaphragm.
Yeah.
When you slouch, you limit your lung capacity. Less air means less power.
So when I sit up straight, I'm unkinking the hose.
You're opening the airway. Your breathing improves. You have more air support. And a supported voice is just a stronger voice. Your body produces a better sound because the instrument is aligned.
There's another physical hack in here that I found really charming. The audible smile.
Yes, this is a real phenomenon. People can hear you smile even if they can't see you.
How does that work? Physically?
It's acoustics. When you smile, you physically lift the soft palate at the back of your mouth. It shortens the vocal tract a tiny bit, and that brightens the tone. It adds a frequency that the human ear interprets as warmth and friendliness.
So it's not a feeling, it's actual audio engineering.
It is. And projecting warmth signals, you're not threatened. It sounds like you're in control of the situation. You sound approachable.
Which is a form of confidence, but let's distinguish that from volume. I think there's a misconception that confident equals loud.
The loudest guy in the room syndrome.
Right. And warns against this.
Absolutely. Volume is not shouting. Shouting is aggression. But there is a difference between shouting and projection. Many people, when they lack confidence, do what's called vocal retreat. They start a sentence strong, and then they mumble the last few words.
fading out like a song at the end of an album.
Exactly. They swallow the thought. Confident volume is simply the belief that your voice deserves to travel all the way to the listener's ear. It's finishing the sentence with the same energy you started it with.
Occupying the space,
Yeah.
audibly.
Yes, if you're in a room, fill the room. Not with noise, but with presence.
Okay, we have the theory. But how do we actually install this software? Because reading about it is one thing on practice, and it's pretty uncompromising about the out loud rule.
This is non-negotiable. You cannot practice speaking in your head.
But I'm so eloquent in my head. My internal monologue is Shakespearean.
We all are. In our heads, we don't stumble, we don't run out of breath. But speaking is physical. It involves muscle memory, your tongue, lips, jaw. You have to train those muscles.
So literally talking to yourself.
Literally. Describe making coffee out loud. Explain a concept to your cat. The goal is just familiarity. You need to get used to the vibration of your own voice filling a space.
And then there's the step that everyone hates. I hate it. Recording yourself.
The cringe factor.
It's so painful. Do I really sound like that?
There's a biological reason for that. When you speak, you hear your own voice through bone conduction. It vibrates through your skull, which adds bass.
So it sounds deeper to me.
Deeper and richer, yes.
Mm.
A recording is what everyone else hears through air conduction. It sounds higher. That discrepancy is the cringe.
So I just have to get used to the air-conducted version of me.
Exactly. You have to get over that hump. Recording gives you objective data. You can't fix what you can't hear.
It's exposure therapy.
It is. And the more you hear it, the less you fear it.
Now, regarding preparation, the balance, we shouldn't script everything, right?
Right. Overscripting is a trap. If you memorize a script, you're using your memory, not your communication skills. Forget one word and the whole thing breaks. You panic.
And you sound like a robot.
You sound like a robot. The alternative is to know your direction. Think of it like a GPS. You know the destination, your key point. You know the major waypoints, your 3 arguments. You don't memorize every pebble on the road.
So you trust yourself to find the words in the moment.
Exactly. That certainty of direction,
Yeah.
that's what reads as confidence. When you know where you're going, your voice steadies.
I like that. Prepared, but flexible. We've covered the physical, the practical, but I want to land on the mindset piece. Because ultimately, all the breathing tricks in the world won't help if you're terrified of being judged. This core belief, people are judging me, is the root of the problem.
That's the root cause. When you think that, you go into performance mode. You feel like you're on a stage, under spotlight, and the audience has scorecards.
It's pass-fail.
And that pressure is what ruins your voice.
Yeah.
Really profound reframing. It suggests replacing I am performing with I am sharing.
I'm sharing, not performing. Let's unpack that.
When you perform, the focus is on you. Do I look good? Do I sound smart? Do they like me? It's all ego. And the ego is fragile. When you share, the focus shifts to them. I have this information or this story, and I want to give it to you because it will help you.
It's an act of
It's
service.
generosity.
Yeah.
And you can't be generous and terrified at the same time.
That stops it from being a test.
Exactly. Your thoughts matter. When you focus on the value of the gift you're giving, you stop worrying about the wrapping paper. You just want them to get the package.
That is so freeing. And the text makes a point that I think is crucial. Confidence is not the absence of fear.
Right. We have this illusion that confident people aren't scared. It's false. Every great speaker you admire feels that adrenaline.
They just handle it differently.
They interpret it differently. They don't let the fear stop the action. Confidence is a result of action, not a prerequisite for it.
You have to do it scared.
You have to do it scared.
This has been incredible. Let's do a quick recap of the architecture for someone who wants to try this tomorrow. What's the checklist?
Okay, first, the speed trap. Slow down. Use silence.
Right.
Second, physiology. Take that one deep breath. Sit up straight.
Unkink the hose.
Unkink the hose. Third, clarity. Simple words. Aim to connect, not impress.
And fourth.
Resilience. Don't apologize for being human. If you stumble, just rephrase and move on.
And finally, that amazing mindset shift.
Yeah.
You are sharing, not performing.
Exactly. Shift the focus outward.
And if I can add one thing.
Please.
The out loud rule. Don't just think about this. Talk to your cat. Record yourself. Get used to the sound of your own voice.
Absolutely. Confidence is a muscle. You have to exercise it.
I want to leave the listener with a thought that really stuck with me from the source's conclusion. We often wait. We say, I'll speak up when I feel more confident.
Right. Once I'm perfect, then I'll speak.
But looking at everything we've discussed, it raises a bit of a paradox. Are you waiting for your skills to improve so you can feel confident? Or Will the act of acting confident, just allowing yourself to be comfortable and human, actually be the thing that improves your skills?
That is the question. We think feeling leads to action, but so often, action leads to feeling.
You have to fake the comfort to build the skill.
Precisely.
That is a lot to mull over. Thank you so much for breaking this down with me.
It was a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, go share something today. We'll see you on the next